Hello. So for my mobile application coursework stage 2, I've implemented a quiz revision app for GCSE students. The app is called Your Revision, and it's basically aimed at 15 to 16-year-olds who are coming up to exam time, and this is another option as opposed to other revision that they can use just to basically top up knowledge if they're on the bus and stuff like that. So if I just start off by making an account, so let's just call this um, Ron. We'll just call the last name Hills, um, and then we'll just do run@test.com. Set the password. You have to confirm the password. Basically, just a bit of error checking, so that if the user puts any wrong information for their password, then it will compare the two, and if they're not equal, then it will force an error. So the home page, I've gone with this kind of scheme because in my user testing, I got told that the page came across a bit too bright and hard on the eye, and I thought we agreed paler colours will be a bit nicer, so a little light background with a slightly darker backbar looks quite nice. Also, from user testing, a bit of feedback was the home screen looked a bit dull and empty. So one way to address this is that I've got a horizontal animation in the middle, just as tips, just to top up any reminders for the user, basically, because it's easy to get bogged down during revision and let stuff get all on top. So just a little hint or reminder may help the user just get through that exam period a little better. As you can see, the high score is obviously 0, but if we just get straight into a quiz, so let's say we could choose a subject, maths, keep it easy, start quiz, and as you can see, everything on here, like a countdown, all the score, question, difficulty, and category, all at the top, with the question and the answers in the middle. So which of these fractions is equivalent to 3/5? So this would be 39 over 65. The answer highlights in green, whereas the red if it's wrong, and then you can click next when you're ready to proceed to the next question. What is standard form? Writing numbers as a calculator writes numbers. System showing very large or small numbers. Writing numbers as decimals. So let's say we get this question wrong. We just pick the top one, and you see the score doesn't increment, and we get told answer 2 is correct. This should be this one, and we've got it wrong. The countdown freezes. So let's say we're unsure on this question, and we've taken our time, and the countdown's going down. You'll see that as soon as it hits 10, the countdown goes red. So obviously that's an alert to the user that they need to get a move on, pick a question, not too sure what to pick. And if you've selected an answer but haven't pressed confirm and the timer goes down, then it will pick your answer that is currently selected automatically for you. So that's correct, the score goes up. And as you can see, the state and everything changes per page. And if I just rotate the screen, like so, we can see that actually everything stays, such as the countdown score. Whereas before, if you rotate the screen, the state of everything kind of gets lost. So before changing the screen, you have to save all the variables and then reallocate them after the screen's rotated, just so the user, if they accidentally rotate their screen, their score and countdown just don't disappear, basically. So if we just get through this quiz, this is the first one we're doing, it's the last question. And as you can see, we've got a score of 6 on the first, but it's labeled as a 0, which is slightly annoying. But as you can see, as the more quizzes you'll do, it will take in your previous quizzes for that subject specifically and plot them. And so you can see a kind of trend in your results, which will be a bit easier to see when I show you. So we did easy maths. So let's just change the subject, pop back to maths. As you see, the high score now is updated 6, which is read from Firebase. So in terms of the login system and everything that handles the user's data, this is all stored online via Firebase, which I thought was the easiest thing to do. So as you can see here, the user data, everyone has their unique UID. We've just made a new account called Ron. Where's Ron? Is here, Ron at test.com. Maths total score 6. Comp and physics we haven't done. And then you can see in here the subjects, computing, maths and physics. Maths, our previous score is 6. So these scores here are what are used to plot the graph for each time we run. So as you can see, the only real plot is 6. So that was what got plotted. So in terms of my design consideration and playing the quiz, I thought that to make it more usable and efficient for users to play, I've kept as much as I can and clearly put on the homepage, such as these buttons, animation, whereas before, when you press start quiz, it'll take you to a page where you have to pick your difficulty in your subject. Whereas as was agreed during unit testing, that that doesn't really make sense, and it should be on the homepage. And then you press start quiz, it looks a bit more clear with the high score underneath and easy to use for the user, basically, and a lot more easier to navigate through the screens. That only makes it more engaging, but I think things like having the summary page and let's have a look at the rankings page make things a little bit more engaging for your user as well. So we're on Ron. Ron hasn't played a computing quiz, but we've just done a maths one. And as you can see, Ron got a score of 6, so he's actually top of the leaderboards, the 6. So the way this works is that if we flick over to Firebase, we have these total scores. So basically, I read in a document snapshot of my user data collection, which gets a snapshot of all of these into a list, and then I can just collect the information I need. So the subject they pick, or the subject that they pick is up here. So if they change it, then Ron actually goes to 0 because that was his previous score, total score, sorry, for that subject. And then it's basically information you need is put into descending order. I keep track of the name and then just display it to the screen. The user data subjects is displayed also for displayed on the the summary page. So if we just go onto a different account, which looks a bit nicer for some page, so if we've played it a few times. So this is another account. I log in through Firebase, handles all the backend for you. Let's just quickly play a quiz. One question on here just to get pretty easy played. And as you can see, this looks a lot nicer. So their trend of results is that they're done really well early on, but then actually they've steadied off a bit, mainly because we've only got one question. But as you can see, it's really easy for the user to see what number of quizzes they've taken, what they got on that quiz, and the score they got, and how well they're doing lately. So a further implementation could be something like setting targets and stuff for the user, and if they hit that goal, then they get a message or something saying well done. If they don't, then they've got to work a bit harder. In terms of the questions, as you can see on here, this is an SQL database which is preloaded the first time it's ever run. And I think this is a bit better having it offline because it makes it a bit more accessible for users if they haven't got the most stable internet connection or they're out of the house on the bus or something. So the user can easily log on through Firebase, which is internet connection, but it doesn't take as much as if I was constantly streaming loads of questions in. So the category ID correlates to what subject it is, so computing, the difficulty, the answer number is the option, and these are also the questions. And then as you can see, this category ID is for maths, and number 2 is for physics. And so it's really easy to add more questions. All I need to do is update the version number, and that would technically change the system, and it will make it think that it needs to re-download it, and therefore we will update the SQL database, which is offline, so it's more accessible for users. So I've 2 storage devices, obviously in total, one on Firebase, one on SQL, which is cool. one more thing to show is notifications. So let's just delete this one. I think that's for a different account. If I go on here, because we're on Harry, if we log out and go back onto Ron hasn't set his notifications yet. They're automatically set to 4 o'clock because that's obviously after school time. So when around when they'll get home, so it's good time to preset it, and then we can set it to something more appropriate. So let's just quickly set it to 2:11. Just in the next minute, press OK, go back to homepage, and as we approach 2:11, somewhere around that minute, a notification will pop up. We're good for time. So let's just go to. Oh, there's our quiz. There's our Firebase. We're back on Ron. Ron hasn't played computing before, so let's just do a medium one. And as you can see, there's loads of equipment in Firebase, and we've got a notification through for 2:11. And all it says is your revision, so the app name, time for another quiz, and this will repeat every single day at 2:11. As you can see, the hour and the minute is stored, and then every time the user updates this is overwriting the original notification they had and resetting it with the new one. This isn't Ron. Ron is set to 2 for the hour and 11 minutes past. So we're actually halfway through a quiz, so we didn't get to pick an answer, so we'll go next. Quickly go through the quiz. Yeah. I'm not sure I got anything right. Got one right. Using buses, there we go. That's his first time, but as you saw before, it's a lot nicer looking when you've played a lot of quizzes and your score is changing, so you can see your trending results. You can scroll through here and see the rankings, which I've showed, which are red for Firebase. It's a document snapshot and sorted into a descending order. In terms of critiquing my app, I would say that on the quiz page, as you saw, the background doesn't actually look too nice or red and the green when the answers change. So maybe I'll add a kind of background effect so it's really clear and obvious what answer is right and wrong. I think as well, considering my design guidelines, my main aim was to make the app easy to learn and also engaging for all users. So if I wanted to make it more engaging, that obviously including your friends and stuff. So not only having rankings, but also the ability to set targets against friends, even play quizzes with friends, stuff like that, which helps your revision even more, is what I would have for making the quiz more engaging. I think that's everything I've got to say for my app. So thank you.